Title and thumbnail should hint at it, this video is going to emphasize on a different currency. Hi, my name is Morphsuit America, I play on the Japanese PSO2. Now this currency you will need as well, along with the Luminmech fragments. In terms of the Luminmech fragments and you spending it on whatever, go ahead and do the plus potential, especially if you're playing on global, if you have a certain weapon that can get it. Why? Because that's going to help you tremendously, especially when you start to do a bunch of divide quests. When you do divide quests, that's going to be your main way to get a lot of these resources, Luminmech fragments, divide metals, etc, etc. Obviously, there's going to be a shop for those conversions, but there's a big one that will eat up a lot of your Luminmech fragments, which means you're going to need to farm a lot. And it's this Grainne Crystal. Now, I'm going to call it Grainne Crystal because it's easy in terms of pronunciation. I don't know how to pronounce this thing properly, so I'm gonna just stick with Grainne Crystal. Most likely the thumbnail is gonna be it surrounded by grain, just because I can. So this thing here, this is gonna be a monthly conversion. There are other ways to get this crystal. You can look in the time or in the description for those time skips, so you can see these alternative methods. But this is gonna be big because this is the one that's gonna give you 4 of these if you do this conversion, and the conversion is pretty much 200 Luminmech fragments along with 350 divides just for one of these. And this is on a monthly cooldown. That is important. A monthly cooldown. So if you miss your chance to get these 4 Grainne Crystals and it refresh, then you missed your chance on 4 Grainne Crystals. Most likely what I'm going to do is farm divide a bit more, get these crystals, and then wait for the next cooldown refresh. But it's going to take you roughly around 800 Luminmech crystals along with 1,400 divide metals to get these things. And why do you need these? It's for future upgrades, especially from the Eye to the Lightweaver, and then maybe Stil and Puras. But that one, you guys can... There are a couple videos already released talking about that, especially if I was playing on global. You can see that above my header in the description. But yeah, just take note that you will need these. Now, once again, there are other ways to get them, especially if you have the Mission Pass, Battle Pass. They do give them out over there. There are certain titles for it. There are a couple events or past events that did hand them out as well. So, it's not bad. But once again, this ultimately falls on how you're doing things and if you want to do it. The other way to actually get this is through the Gold Prize Metal Shop. They will add this over there in Global eventually. But they will have this sort of exchange where you can trade in 500 Gold Prize Metal so you can get this Grainne Crystal. Now, this is entirely up to you if you want to use your currency for this. Instead of a monthly cooldown, this is a weekly cooldown. Other than that, yeah, the other shops do not have them. And once again, just to emphasize this, now this is a bit of a spoiler, depending on if you want to see this. You might not want to see it. You might want to go in the description for the time skip. But I'm going to show you guys a certain weapon series that's going to eat up these Grainne Crystals. There's like 4 of them. Well, 3 of them in a sense. So I'll go over here and show you guys. So, big 2 is Puras and Stil. So if you try to make a Puras, it's going to eat up those Grainne Crystals and then fragments. Once again, if you do your conversion, or if you convert this in terms of divine metals and Luminmech fragments, that is a good, what is it? It costs 200 and 350. So 700 divide metals, and then it's going to be roughly around 400 Luminmech fragments plus 200 because this is 200 down here. You're using 600 Luminmech fragments with 700 divide crystals to actually do this. Granted that, once again, if you get this through a title and whatnot, that's a different story. But that's the total price of it in fragments. Now, this one's a pain in the butt, because guess what? It's going to eat up modules, it's going to eat up Luminmech fragments, it's going to eat up those Grainne Crystals. This is a lot to go from a Puras to Stil. It does give you a good chunk of stuff if you do this upgrade, but question is, do you really want to do it? It depends on your battle plan, depends on what you decide to, or it depends on your goals and all that. And the other thing is, you might want to save those modules for a different sort of thing, which is hinted at with the Cras Units. I already released a video on it, upper right hand corner, or well, yeah, upper right hand corner above my head or in the description. So this falls on if you want to do such a thing. The next thing that uses the Grainne Crystal is, guess what? The Lightweaver upgrade. You will need 4 of these. So once again, if you do the conversion, it's pretty much 800 Luminmech fragments along with 1,400 divide metals. Granted that you get it through that shop. fragments, you only need to worry about it over, for the Aya, you need to worry about it over here, but you do need to note that this Aya weapon is not at a grind rarity of 35, so you will need to try to increase this the normal way, which is to get multiple dupes and feed it into each other, or the indirect way, which is to get grind caps. Do the latter, because that's going to save you a lot. But yeah, that's the big thing. Now, in terms of getting these other Grainne Crystals, once again, there are events that did hand them out a bit. There is your Mission Pass Battle Pass that will hand them out as well. I don't know if the one that we have over here on the Japanese PS... Oh, nope, there it is. So we got these, you get 2 of them. The previous one also gave you 2 Grainne Crystal at stage 18. So you got 2 of them, so it's not as bad once they update it. The other thing will be the titles, because guess what? There are certain titles that will give you a good chunk of things, and apparently I got this certain title. So if I go over here, go to quest, scroll all the way down, you can see that these ones, especially for Divide Quest, you'll notice that they will give you Grainne Crystals if you hit certain thresholds. For example, if I earn 3 million weekly Divide points for that week, for that one character, I can get 2 Grainne Crystals. And then there was another one down here. If I was able to clear step 35, I get 3 of these. I think 30 gives you something. No, I'm wrong. 30 didn't give you as much. It does give you modules though. But yeah, that's the thing though. You may want to do some of these objectives so you can try to get these Grainne Crystals without having to spend all these resources. Once again, it might not be a big deal. I just want you guys to be aware that Luminmech fragments are not the only thing you need to worry about. Because these Grainne Crystals are something you will need to get, and then you will also need to convert fragments into Grainne Crystals, along with the Divide Metals. So just be aware of that. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any question, comment, concerns, put it down below. And note that they do drop naturally. But it's like a 15 star. So if you get a 15 star animation and you don't see any weapons that's a 15 star, you might have got that fragment, that Grainne Crystal as a natural drop. And it kind of sucks, especially if you're trying to get a weapon. It happened to me, I think, in a primordial one. I thought I got an Aya weapon, but no! It was a Grainne Crystal, Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.